Today, we are diving deep into a system from Brian Tracy's book, Focal Point. It's all about tackling one of the biggest problems we all face in our modern lives.
I mean, does this sound familiar? You feel like you are constantly running, just trying to keep up, but you're not actually getting anywhere. Your to-do list just keeps growing, there are never enough hours in the day, and you just feel stretched, completely thin.
And that's the real trap, isn't it? We work so hard because we want to be successful. But at the same time, we're craving a happy, balanced life outside of work. How in the world are you supposed to have both? Well, the answer, according to Tracy, is about finding your focal point. And to really get what that means, let's start with a really cool story.
So, what is a focal point? Well, there's this great story that just perfectly nails the whole idea. It all starts inside this massive nuclear power plant.
Now, this wasn't some small hiccup. The plant was losing an insane amount of money every single day because of this mystery problem. Their own top-notch engineers, they tried everything, but they just could not figure it out. So they decided to call in an outside expert.
So this consultant shows up, puts on a white coat, grabs a clipboard, and for 2 full days, he just walks around. That's it. He's quietly studying hundreds of different dials and gauges, scribbling some notes, making a few calculations, but he doesn't touch a single piece of equipment.
Then, at the end of that second day, after all that silent observation, he pulls out a felt marker from his pocket. He climbs up a small ladder and puts one big black X on a single gauge. He points to it and tells the engineers that the problem is with the mechanism behind that meter. Sure enough, they take it apart, fix it, and boom, the entire plant is back up to full power.
So about a week later, the plant manager gets a bill in the mail for $10,000. He's totally shocked and writes back asking for an itemized breakdown. The new invoice he receives says it all. For putting an X on the gauge, $1. For knowing which gauge to put the X on, $9,999.
And that right there, that's the whole idea. Your success, your happiness, pretty much your entire life comes down to your ability to find your X, your focal point. It's that one thing you can do in any given moment that will get you the absolute best result possible.
Okay, so that's the what. But how do we actually find our own X when our lives are so chaotic? Well, thankfully, Tracy gives us a really practical system for that. And it starts with a classic rule of productivity.
You've probably heard of this one, the 80-20 rule. It's the idea that just 20% of what you do is responsible for 80% of your results. So the whole game is about figuring out what's in that vital 20% and then pouring all your energy right there.
And that brings us to the Grand Slam formula, a super memorable 4-part process. First, you simplify by just ruthlessly cutting out the low-value stuff. Then you leverage your time and energy to get the most bang for your buck. After that, you look for ways to accelerate your progress, to get to your goals faster. And finally, you multiply your results by using the skills and energy of other people.
Let's just zoom in on that leverage step for a second, because this is a real game changer. It means you stop trying to do everything yourself. You can leverage other people's knowledge, their money, their energy. You can even leverage their successes and, yep, their failures to find shortcuts. It's how you accomplish way, way more than you ever could on your own.
But, none of this works. Not a single one of these strategies will work without this one foundational shift in your mindset. You absolutely have to accept complete responsibility for your life. No more excuses, no blaming other people or circumstances. The second you truly say, I am responsible, you take back the power. And that's when everything can start to change.
So what happens when you combine that deep sense of responsibility with intense focus? The payoff is, well, it's incredible. We're not just talking about feeling a little less stressed. We're talking about a real, measurable transformation in your life.
All right, so here's the really bold promise of this system. It is possible to double your income and double your time off at the same time. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds impossible, right? More money has to mean more hours. But that's the old way of thinking. We need a complete paradigm shift. The old way was trading hours for dollars. The new way is all about trading value for dollars. It's not about being busy, it's about accomplishment.
I mean, this quote from the book just says it all. Today, you are paid for the results you get, not for the activities you do. When you start focusing all your energy on those high-value tasks, your personal focal points, you massively increase the quality and quantity of your results, and your rewards follow right behind.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But what do you do? Like, what action can you take today to make this real? It's actually way simpler than you might think. Let's boil it all down to a few immediate, high-impact steps.
All right, here are 3 things you can do right now. First, figure out what those top 20% tasks are.
the ones that give you 80% of your results. Second, start getting rid of everything else. Delegate it, outsource it, or maybe just stop doing it altogether. And third, and this is so important, take 1 full day off every single week. No work, no email, nothing. You need to let your mind fully recharge. Trust me, it's a performance strategy, not a luxury. And really, that's what this all leads to. When you start to clear out the clutter and focus your energy, you create the mental space to think bigger. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If you knew for a fact that you could not fail, what one great thing would you dare to dream of doing? Because finding that dream, that's the first step to finding your ultimate focal point.